U-Boat just hit early access and of course I bought a copy. Since U-Boat sims are a rare breed of games, I was quite excited for its release. Let's see if this one is worth your time. Welcome back. U-Boat puts you in charge of U-96 during World War II. This means once the campaign is finished. The game is planned to leave early access in 2020 with a full campaign on board. Currently your choices are limited to the tutorial and the sandbox mode. So let's first do a mission and then we talk about the game itself. We start at the port of La Rochelle in France. If we had any resources, we could ask for favors, which means upgrading your sub with better technology or supplies. But we don't, so we grab some orders and then set sail for the North Atlantic. Our orders are to patrol a given area southwest of our current location. So we plot a course out of the port and towards the given area. Then we wait until crew discipline levels are close to 100%. Being at port and giving them some recreational time off makes the percentage rise quite quickly. As we leave the harbor, we check if everything is fine with the boat and the crew. It is. No one is sleeping on the job or fooling around in any other way. Since we're in friendly waters, we tune in Radio La Rochelle. They play Wagner's Walkürenritt. Gute Wahl, Herr DJ. As we reach the open sea, fast travel options become available. We're not even halfway to our destination as a radio message from the HQ reaches us. It tells us of a lost U-boat within our patrol area, which means we now have an optional goal to investigate. So we set course for that last known location of the lost sub. As we travel further, we lose track of our U-boat's position because of unknown circumstances. It turns out the navigation station has been abandoned, so we order one of our officers to man the station again. It takes a while to determine our current position, so we speed up time. As our boat reappears on the map, we can see that we've drifted off course towards the west. We quickly turn towards our destination again. It's quite dark outside as we reach the sub's position, so we turn on our searchlight and start looking around. Once we've found it, we close in on its position. It has sustained heavy damage and drifts aimlessly on the ocean. We send over our engineer to take a closer look, since he's able to put explosive charges on the boat if we ever need to sink it. As he reaches his destination and investigates the situation, he finds out the crew has died in a horrible way. They might have hit a mine, which resulted in flooded batteries and the following release of chlorine gas. Since the ship must not fall into enemy hands, we send it to the ocean floor with our explosives. Good job, Felix, ab zurück aufs Boot! U-1165 sinks below the waves and we continue on our patrol. As we cruise along, another radio message reaches us. Another sub has triggered a mine and ran out of medical supplies. Not a problem, we can still help as we have plenty in our storage room. So we set course to the suggested meeting point where U-1006 is already waiting for us. The sea is rough and foggy. We send over our captain to have a chat with his colleague on the other boat, but first he needs to pick up the supplies. On his way he finds the cook who burned the scrambled eggs and therefore wasted a lot of precious rations. That surely is a reason to execute him. But we have a good day and decide to just discipline him by replacing his free time with toilet cleaning. Then we pay our visit to U-1006 and deliver the much needed supplies. Mission completed. Well done, Kapitän, zurück an Bord. A little disclaimer at this point. I'm not a Nazi in any way. I'm just making fun of ancient German pronunciation. With that said, let's continue the patrol. We get one more message from HQ telling us that a freighter with crucial technology on board has been located and we're ordered to intercept it. Fortunately, its position is close to the route of our way back home, so we're not in danger of running out of fuel. A while later, in a rainy night, 250 kilometers north of Madeira, we catch up with the convoy. We turn off the searchlight to prevent being spotted and then order full speed ahead to overtake the convoy. After we passed it, we need a good spot for an ambush. We mark the spot on the map. This should position us 2 kilometers away from the passing convoy. As we close in to our final ambush position, just before we gain visual contact, the freighters use secret British quantum teleport technology to spontaneously jump 20 kilometers eastwards. Whether that's a bug or simulates faulty recon data, I don't know. We quickly turn around and set a new intercept course. It's cloudy and rather dark, so we close in without diving. Each vessel needs to be identified first, and that's what we do. Strangely, there are 2 possible ships which match our target's description. But we don't care as we got 4 loaded torpedo tubes on standby. As we get closer, we dive to telescope depth because shooting unaware targets is easier than trying to hit dodging freighters. There also will be more time to clear the area after they called for possible air support. As we're in a good spot now, we calculate a firing solution for the first target. There's distance, heading, and speed to be measured in order to do the calculations. While our first 2 torpedoes are on the way, we repeat the procedure with the second target. Sadly, our first shot missed, but the second target gets hit and starts to sink quickly. We do another calculation for our first target, which is now aware we're here, and as a result dodges our first eel. The second one hits though, and makes the ship tilt to the port side. We observe for several minutes, but it isn't sinking. So let's surface the boat and finish the job with our 8-8. The sea is rough, which makes targeting and shooting difficult. We take another look at the freighter via the tactical map. Lifeboats have been deployed, which means it's sinking. So we stop firing the gun and decide to leave the area and head home. The last freighter, which we let escape, will hopefully report the positions of the drifting sailors in their lifeboats to be picked up by other ships. As we head away to the east, we radio the successful destruction of both ships to the HQ, and then we set course back to our base at La Rochelle. The weather is clear now, and we start our march home at sunrise. A day later, just at the fringe of the Bay of Biscay, we stumble over another small convoy. It's a rainy night, which makes spotting ships difficult, but since we're already on our way home, we decide to get rid of some leftover torpedoes. We turn the boat southwards into an intercept course, but then suddenly, the game crashes. So we sadly never know how this mission ended. Alright, that's how a mission plays like. Let's talk a bit about the game itself. Feature-wise, it's pretty good. The boat is fully functional and allows you to do and micromanage a lot of things. From shooting torpedoes to raising your flag or moving stuff from storage to kitchen and the other way around. But lots of things are not fully fleshed out yet and most people observe frequent crashes and other bugs. I couldn't complete the tutorial, for example, because of various bugs like the game getting stuck in super slow motion, which is the pause mode, or a buggy torpedo tube. One time, for example, there was water in the bow compartment and the game switched to super slow motion because it wanted me to load a torpedo. But I couldn't, because the department was partially underwater. So I wasn't able to fulfill the objective and the game got stuck in pause mode forever, which means I had to abort the mission and try again. There are tons of other bugs, like officers not fulfilling their assigned roles, sometimes the electric engines just won't respond, or the deck gun stops functioning for no reason at all. One time my boat just went to periscope depth without me pressing a single button or giving any order. Unfortunately, no one closed the main hatch and the boat got flooded within seconds. Besides these bugs, the game is plagued by micromanagement issues. While it's fun to manage the crew in a combat situation, other things become tedious on the long run. For example, why do I have to turn on the air compressor manually every time I surface? Of course you don't want to run a noisy compressor if enemy ships are near, so I get the point. But there could be a battle stations command toggle. As long as it's active, you have to activate noisy components manually, otherwise someone just turns on the compressor once you surface. It's the same with moving various foods around the boat or telling the cook which kind of food to prepare. These are some examples of meaningless tasks which in my opinion add nothing to the game and are just there for the sake of micromanagement. Another improvement the game direly needs is an improved interface. Sometimes the clickable hotspots are a bit off, or you have to try several times until a crew member moves to the selected location. Maybe highlighting the floor if the cursor is at a walkable spot would help. As I use a 40-inch display, I'd really like to see another camera zoom step further away from the boat to manage my crew more efficiently. I always caught myself trying to zoom out further, which just activates the external camera and leaves the micromanagement mode. Apart from these negatives, the game is very good. It's not something you recommend because of dormant potential, because the potential is already there. And after a while of balancing and softening the rough edges, this will be a great game. It's not like Silent Hunter, and it's like that on purpose, which I think is fine because we already have Silent Hunter and countless mods for the series. U-Boat is very atmospheric and successfully manages to transport the feeling of running such a vessel. It's like a mixture of FTL, This War of Mine and a random U-Boat sim, which is awesome already. Now it needs more of everything. More little stories and random events to experience. They also need to make sure these events are meaningful and really have an impact on your progress. If you have played Battletech, you might know what I mean. There could, for example, be events spanning over several missions. Save another captain's boat or crew members one time, and on the next meeting at a distant port, he might give you some of his supplies. You might also get a letter from one of his crew members expressing his gratitude, which would breathe life and add meaning to every encounter and NPC you meet during the campaign. The game also needs more radio traffic and a fully fleshed out campaign. It needs better textures for the ports, but we will get these in no time once mod support is implemented. The map needs a depth chart, so you can plan your route better. I could go on for weeks about how to improve the game, but don't get me wrong, it already is a good game. They just need more time to optimize it, and that's what early access is there for. So what's my conclusion? Buy it now if you're a hardcore submarine fan and you want to support the devs and therefore the game's future progress. Wait a few months if you're just interested in the topic but not really a SubSim veteran. Lots of bugs will be fixed until then, which will lead to a much more refined experience. At the moment it's not really a complete game because of the missing campaign and some patches messing up your save games. But in the end, that's the game I've been waiting for since I played the first round of Wolfpack on my 286 or Aces of the Deep later in 1994. It's so damn atmospheric, and it seems like the devs don't want to focus on what I call Hollywood heroism. As the war progresses, your boat might become more of a floating coffin than a superior weapon. And I hope the game takes this chance to tell some stories about how war really is. Cruel, inhuman, and nothing you want to participate in if you're not absolutely forced to. More than 30,000 of the about 40,000 German sailors of the U-Boot-Waffe never returned home. 863 boats were deployed during the war and went on combat missions. 784 of them were lost. Lothar Günther Buchheim, who went on a mission aboard U-96 as a war correspondent, later voiced his opinion regarding these losses. U-boats were called the Iron Coffins. Many of the sailors aboard weren't even men but rather children. As the war dragged on and one boat after another was lost, the Kriegsmarine ran low on personnel. So there were 20-year-old U-boat commanders and 90-year-old chief engineers then. Buchheim said they've been rushed to the front line with just minimal training, just to be transferred from life to death in one of the most terrifying ways possible. So with that said, I hope U-Boat grows to be an impressive gaming experience and in the process transports historic and social facts at the same time. This could become one of the best anti-war games ever released and the first one I know of in a nautical setting. So that's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, then feel free to like, comment and subscribe. Feel free to share too. Thumbs down if you'd rather enlist as a torpedo than have to watch this video again. Thanks for stopping by and see you on the next Magnets and Miracles.